Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and welcome to the new card report, because I feel like talking about some dragons. It's the return of the Kings, with the strongest deck conceivable for players in 2013, the Dragon Rulers not only having come back at full power on the ban list, minus some copies of maybe Eclipse Wyvern and Goldsark, and not only have they had their rival's spellbook killed by banning Jowgen, but now they're even getting new support. So let's give 2013 players a full-on stroke and look at the dreaded Chaos Dragon Rulers of Light and Dark that were too strong to even be talked about a decade ago. We start with the Light Baby Ruler, Spectre, Dragon Ruler of Rays. A level 2 light dragon with 600 attack and 1000 defense. Both its effects are hard once per turn, and you can only use one in any given turn. The first one is the standard baby dragon effect to discard itself and a dragon and or attribute of its own, this one being light. But this one won't summon a ruler from the deck. Instead, it will add any 2 Dragon Ruler monsters from your deck to your hand, except for a copy of itself. Its other effect will let you banish itself and one other dragon or light monster from your grave to then target one Chasmatis, Dragon Ruler of Auroras, in your grave and special summon it. You can tell it's modern ruler support because the baby doesn't go minus, right up until you eat the fattest ash blossom of your life, eating up all of your life savings, and of course being run down in the streets of Baltimore by that giant fucking forehead. But in a dueling sense. It gets you any of the other Dragon Rulers, baby or daddy, and if nothing else, it's more fodder to be used for other Chaos Rulers. Chaos Rulers, Dragon, there's a bunch of rulers in this game, give me a break. Could maybe be better if it summoned when it was banished instead of banishing to summon, but I don't think that makes it bad. Not to mention, it's incredibly cute, which means if you criticize it, and this is 100% factual truth, I'll fucking kill you. Nebulous, Dragon Ruler of Shadows, aka Nebulous Red Eye support, because that's a Red Eyes Black Dragon. Mom, am I funny yet? This one is the mirror to the light counterpart to No Shock, having the opposite attack and defense, and of course being dark instead of light. It's got another 1 effect per turn and only once per turn, with it discarding itself into Dark or Dragon to target 2 of your banished Dragon Rulers and special summon them, but they won't be able to attack this turn. And it has the same effect as the light one in the grave, but for the Dark Dragon Ruler, banishing itself and a Dark or Dragon to summon out Eclipsis, Dragon Ruler of Woes. And that's a big old effect to get out big old monsters. And in a perfect world, you can imagine banishing 2 of the OG rulers to summon a 3rd one, then pitch this in a dragon that one of the originals searched to bring back the 2 banished ones to have 3 dragons on your field. Crazy, isn't it? 3 monsters for only like 4 cards out of your hand. That's just advantage. That's what Dragon Rulers are. It's a fairly big ask, but it is swarming big-ass dragons, so there is something incredibly cathartic about it, if nothing else. And that is, of course, the reason that I played Yu-Gi-Oh! So I enjoy it. And I'm sure that the artist enjoyed recycling the design for Black Dragon's chick when they made this card. And now, onto the big ones. The inconceivable light dragon ruler that's not the baby, Chasmatis, Dragon Ruler of Auroras. But it's not a main deck monster, no, it's a rank 7, which you could tell because when I said its name, I made it appear on the screen. Whoops! This is a rank 7 that has 3000 attack and 1600 defense, and it needs any 2 dragons to summon it. Unlike the 4 main deck rulers, this one only has 2 effects, but you can at least use both in one turn, as I try not to hiccup. The first is a quick effect to send a Dragon Ruler from the deck to the grave and attach a material, both as cost, to make the effect activated here the discard effect of the sent ruler. And if it's destroyed by battle or destroyed in its owner's possession by an opponent, it can special summon any level 7 Dragon Ruler from your grave or banishment. Now that's a hell of an effect on this absolute noodle of a dragon, and it's another Xyz where the Foolish Burial effect is part of the cost, so it can't be hit by Ash Blossom, and it won't be stopped by Imperm. Now you can't Imperm it to stop the subsequent effect that it would copy from the sent dragon, but the dragon is being sent regardless. The more you know. Not to mention, you have access to the 4 big dragons effect and any discard to summon effect. So if you send Blaster, you can pop a card. If you send Tempest, you can search a dragon. Tidal will let you foolish any monster, and Redox will let you reborn from your graveyard. Not to mention the babies, because they do count, meaning you can get those new baby discard effects to bring back 2 banished ones, which is pretty nutter butter when you stop and think about it. That's all to say, it's pretty damn good. And we haven't even gotten to the fact that if you activate Title's main effect to discard on your own turn, and then you send a copy of like Spell Canceller, then on the opponent's turn you can send a copy of Redox to bring back that Spell Canceller, because Redox can summon anything. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's floodgates. It sucks to hear, but it is crazy. Or you can be a decent person and not an asshole and just pop something with Blaster's Disruption like the brain dead genius can think of. But the options are there, and depending on what your opponent does, you can get a search to your hand on their turn for something like Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, or who knows. All on top of a 3k beater. Talk about a step up from Draco Sack. And the Dark Ruler is also an Xyz. Eclipsis Dragon Ruler of Woes is a name that goes damn hard, and it isn't a noodle, which makes me damn hard. No, it's got arms. Anyway, this also needs 2 level 7 dragons as material and has 2700 attack and 1900 defense. If it's Xyz summoned, it can target any level 4 or lower dragon ruler in your grave or banishment, summon a level or rank 7 dragon from your main deck or banishment that is mentioned on the level 4 or lower baby dragon, and then shuffles that baby dragon back into the deck, which maybe wasn't worded the most beautifully, but target little, summon big, shuffle back little. Thumbs up. You can't get the Xyzes unless they're already in the graveyard. There you go. Whoa! Not to mention, it's also got a negate. That's right, you can negate any spell, trap card, or effect as a quick effect by detaching 2 materials from itself to negate and banish. Hey, look at that. A going first card for the brain dead among us, and of course an in-deck Dragon Ruler card that says fucking stop to Spellbook of Judgment, which for 2013 players feels cathartic. And, you know, it also can swarm and recycle resources, which is what we in the business call playable. It feels like it's either a weak card or a deceptively strong one, and as a fan of it visually, I'm gonna lean into my bias and therefore the latter. What else needs to be said? It's a beater, it's got a negate, and it can help build a board and make up for the steep cost of rulers, which compared to modern cards are expensive as shit. And I'm not even talking about the price of the quarter-century secret rare ones. That's why I play Yu-Gi-Oh, baby! And we're not done. There's still one more dragon. Disaster, Dragon Ruler of Paranormalities, is another rank 7. This one with 0 attack and defense, and its materials to summon it are 2 rank 7 dragons, meaning you need to use the Xyz monsters or Xyz monster dragons. So you can guess which 2 you're meant to use. If it is Xyz summoned, you can target up to 4 level 7 Dragon Rulers in your grave and or banishment, and attach them as a material, and then you can banish all monsters your opponent controls and in their graveyard with the same attributes as the monsters attached to this card. Yeah, why the fuck not? Just an absolute board wipe and a half. And if this card has a light, dark, earth, water, fire, wind, and not divine, because I can't just say all attributes or someone's gonna be like, yeah, you need to be divine. Either way, if it's got all 6 of the Dragon Ruler level rank 7s on it, it'll gain 4600 attack and defense and will become a towers, completely unaffected by other cards' effects. Holy fuck. It feels like some win more. If you don't have the 4 names and use the right materials to summon it, this does become a donut. But if you have everything, you get a 4600 towers. So, you know what I'm saying? That does require that the opponent doesn't stop this, because when you summon it, it will have 2 materials, try to attach 4, and at that point it is very much an imperm target, and the most imperm target, because if it resolves and you can attach an attribute that they're using, they lose everything. So, yeah, absolutely every single time it's fucking worth it. Are you kidding me? That's the most Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragon shit scene I've seen all week. I'm having a stroke trying to comprehend how fucking dope that is. Until, you know, next week when we get the next dragon revealed. Now, it's worth noting that you don't need to make it a towers to use the effect. You can summon this, only have Redox, attach Redox, and then leave the Earth Machine player that you're playing against to realize their deck truly does nothing and watch the joy leave their eyes as you banish their entire field and graveyard. So it's good in specific matchups, like maybe Mermail, or if Konami decide next year we need the Year of Wind, we can shut that shit down preemptively. Also, it's really funny that all the Dragon Rulers are like so elemental. Like Tempest is literally tornadoes, and Blaster's got lava on it, and Redox is boulders, and Title's always been a little iffy, but he's at least got some ice theming going on to make up for the water. But then apparently the big daddy of all the rulers is just a dragon. There's nothing elemental, or it's just the most dragon-looking fucking dragon you've ever seen, and that's the king of the dragon. That's probably fitting. Pretty funny, though. Looks sick as hell. And lastly, behold, support that is not a dragon, but it has dragons on it, so we're safe. Quite literally unprecedented that dragon rulers will get any spell and trap support. Drago Calamity is a quick play spell that has 2 effects and let you use one of them per turn, as is dragon ruler tradition. The activated effect will summon a dragon ruler monster from your hand, grave, or banishment, and then will immediately let you Xyz summon a dragon ruler Xyz monster using only dragon rulers you control as material. How many times can I say dragon ruler? And in the grave, you can banish this to target any number of monsters that are your banished dragon rulers with different attributes and return them to the grave. Now, notably, this is not a searchable card, you just have to skill open it. But it is Dragon Ruler Discount Emergency Teleport, which I can't stress enough is fucking insane to 2013 players. Now, E-Tele's not even remotely right, because it does not summon from the deck. Quite literally, it summons from everywhere else but the deck, but it recovers your banished materials, which you'll certainly have in a deck full of Dragon Rulers to make plays. Going first, it's a bit of a 1-for-1 to get a ruler out, which is better than the 2-for-1s from the baby's copium. Or if you set it on the and then activate it on the opponent's turn, you can bust out the negate with the dark or the light ruler for a pop or revive or whatever, which can be nice. Maybe you don't want to run into Nib, or maybe you use the Light Dragon's effect to summon one with its Xyz Detach effect and then revive with this, and then this lets you immediately Xyz again into the Dark for negate, or even more insane, into the big fucking dragon to banish their entire field. That's pretty good to do on their turn, isn't it? Don't think that should be slept on. And in the graveyard, it's just another way to get back resources, which is something that rulers will always need to compete with modern game. The modern game. Fuck it, close enough. The art is also sick as hell, and I dig the subtle background references to the original rulers. Now, is this a broken as hell card? In 2013, good fucking god, yes. But in 2025, nah, unsearchable, kinda Luxacky, it'll be fine. But it is at least playable in 2025, which beats the last quick play to reference the rulers, so it does at least have that going for it. In total, these don't look like they're going to make the rulers a top tier deck to me, but they do make them an archetype. And that's quite literal, because up until now, they've just been a series of cards, since you aren't an archetype until another card mentions your archetype name specifically. Which, fun fact, is the reason that if you look into it, the Monarch monsters are a series of cards but not an archetype, but the Monarch Spell and Trap are an archetype, because the Monarch monsters mention the Monarch Spell and Trap, but the Monarch Spell and Trap only mention the attack and defense stats. The more you know. But now that there's a card that refers to them by name or multiple, they are in fact a proper archetype, and it is Dragon Rulers. Which means they are not called E-Drags, which is a huge shout out to my fellow 2013 enthusiasts, or another showcase of the fact that I've misremembered what we called things 11 years ago. Who knows? All things are possible. They have some push now, though, although they still have the Blue Eyes problem where Ash Blossom can ruin your entire fucking career. But once again, you can play the rulers and stand a chance to win at locals, if nothing else, which is something of a miracle and also a blessing, or possibly a curse, depending on how much it is you hate dragons in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I do need to go figure out what the hell it is my cat did upstairs on the off chance you heard that on the microphone, but the only remaining question before I do that is, does this mean Spellbook will get support as well? Are we going to have a full-on 2013 retro throwback with new support for each? Because we can get nostalgia for a game that existed a decade ago, and that's what we're all hoping for as we continue to bitch and moan about the present metagame? No, we've already got Edison for that already. We don't have to worry about that shit. Not real. I'm not worried about it. Judgment will never be a problem again. We're safe. And so that wraps it up for this new card report, just covering some new cards in this one. The update, as always, will be out on Friday. Until then, you can make sure you hit subscribe, you can make sure you hit like, and you can make sure you can comment. You can do a lot of things. It's incredible. You should see how many things you can do, because not only will subscribing impress your smoking Italian wife, but you will immediately become a true duelist, and I can assure you there is nothing better than that. That's why I play Yu-Gi-Oh, baby! That did not make sense. Whatever, fuck it.